My child, I want you to listen closely to what I'm about to tell you, because this is not just a story. It is a revelation of something that happened in a place not far from where you sit right now. It concerns a truth that has been hidden behind the thick walls of a hospital room, a reality so chilling that the doctors and nurses who witnessed it will carry the memory for the rest of their lives. Just a short while ago, something deeply unsettling took place, an event so heavy that it made even the bravest hearts in that room tremble with a fear they couldn't explain. You might think this has nothing to do with you, but I need you to know that this event is not distant or random. The woman at the center of this terrifying moment is someone whose identity will shock you when I finally reveal who she is. But before we get there, I need you to open your heart and steady your spirit, because what you are about to hear is heavy. It is real, it is spiritually dangerous, and yet it is absolutely necessary for you to hear today. Imagine a busy hospital corridor with bright lights and the sound of nurses rushing back and forth, but behind one closed door, something was happening that silenced the entire atmosphere. Inside that room, a woman lay on a delivery bed, sweat covering her forehead as her hands gripped the sheets in desperation. She was fighting through waves of pain, but this wasn't just the pain of bringing new life into the world. It was the pain of something far darker trying to escape from within her. The doctors were shouting instructions, their voices filled with urgency as the machines beeped wildly, signaling that something was terribly wrong. The air in the room felt cursed, heavy with a tension that made it hard to breathe. But the strangest thing wasn't the chaos or the fear. It was the woman herself. Amidst all the panic, she was unnaturally calm, her eyes still and her spirit unshaken. She looked like someone who already knew how this was going to end, someone who had accepted a truth that everyone else was too afraid to face. The medical team worked desperately, but every second felt like darkness was tightening its grip on the child she carried. And then, in a moment that froze time itself, it happened. The baby was born, but there was no cry, no sound, no heartbeat. The room fell into a painful silence as the reality of the situation settled over everyone. A nurse gasped, a doctor stepped back in disbelief, and tears of fear gathered in their eyes. But the mother didn't scream or cry. She didn't ask why this had happened to her. Instead, she did something that no one expected. She lifted her head, closed her eyes, and whispered a single word. "Thank you." That whisper was soft, but it hit the room like a thunderclap, leaving everyone frozen in confusion. People stared at her as if she had lost her mind, because who thanks God for a dead child? You are probably asking the same question right now. Why would she be relieved in such a tragic moment? What did she know that no one else in that room understood? Her gratitude wasn't madness, it was relief. She knew something terrible about the child she had carried, something that bends the mind and twists the heart. The father of that child was not human. He was not a man of flesh and blood. He was a shadow, an ancient darkness that had been searching for years for a vessel to enter this world. He had come to her in dreams and whispers, slowly gaining access to her life until she opened a door she couldn't close. She had invited him in without realizing what he truly was until it was too late. When the mask finally fell and she saw the true face of the presence she had allowed in, she knew the terrifying truth. If that child had lived, the world would not have been safe. If that child had taken a single breath, darkness would have risen through innocence. So her thank you was not a celebration of death, it was a celebration of protection. She was thanking heaven for intervening and stopping a nightmare before it could begin. She knew that a single life lost meant millions of souls saved from a shadow that would have consumed them. if you believe that everything happens for a reason, even the hard things, I want you to type "I trust the plan" in the comments right now. It is a way to anchor your faith even when you don't understand the full picture. Now, listen carefully, because this is where the story gets personal. That woman is not a stranger living in a distant land. She is not someone you will never meet. She lives very close to you, just a few streets away from where you are right now. You have probably walked past her without realizing it, and her shadow has crossed your path before. And here is the chilling part. The same darkness that targeted her has now turned its eyes toward you. That ancient shadow knows your name. It knows your strength, and it knows the calling on your life. This is why you have felt attacked in your spirit lately. This is why a heaviness has been following you quietly. But I want you to know that you do not need to be afraid. Do not let this truth shake you, because I have not abandoned you. I have seen every tear you shed in private, and I have lifted every weight that felt too heavy for you to carry. You might look at yourself and see weakness, but I see a survivor. You are still standing, still breathing, and still smiling, not because you are lucky, but because you are chosen. Your story is about to shift, and the battle around you is coming to an end. The storm over your mind is calming down, and the heaviness in your chest is lifting. You are entering a new season where peace will replace chaos and clarity will replace confusion. I am breaking every shadow that is seeking you and lifting every weight pressing down on your life. This is only the beginning of your breakthrough. But before I reveal the deeper truth behind this woman's story and what really happened in that hospital room, you must understand one thing clearly. Nothing in this world happens without a reason, not in the seen or the unseen realms. That woman didn't suffer by accident, and that child didn't die by coincidence. The timing of you hearing this message right now is not random either. You are hearing this because something in the spiritual atmosphere around you has shifted. It concerns your life, your future, and your spiritual well-being. So listen closely, because what happened next inside that room is something no one else knows. When the baby was born silent, the air in the room grew heavy, as if the room itself was exhaling. The doctors thought it was grief, but the mother felt a shift deep inside her chest. She felt a severance, a breaking of a link she didn't even realize had been wrapped around her soul. The moment the child left her body, the darkness that had been attached to her for months was pushed away. The shadow that had followed her everywhere loosened its grip and withdrew like a beast that realized its plan had failed. She felt the weight leave her rib cage, and the air returned to her lungs for the first time in months. That was why she whispered, "Thank you." It was the relief of a prisoner finally walking out of a cage. The others thought she was crazy, but what she said was pure revelation. She finally understood that the child she carried, Dee, was never meant for life. It was meant to be a gateway. It was a vessel for a presence that had waited centuries to enter the world in human form, a child born of flesh but filled with something not human at all. When she realized what her child would have become, she didn't mourn the loss, she mourned what could have happened if heaven hadn't stopped it. Her gratitude was her acceptance that the world had been spared a great evil. One mother's heart was broken so that countless souls could be saved, and that is a heavy burden to carry. But my child, this revelation is tightening around you now. That woman wasn't chosen randomly. The presence knew something about her family line. It knew about the spiritual cracks in her bloodline that made her vulnerable. She had opened a door without knowing it, and what entered took root quickly. And now, the darkness that once sought her has shifted its attention to find another vessel. It is looking for someone spiritually sensitive, someone emotionally open, someone with a destiny. And do you know who that someone is? Yes, my child, that someone is you. The shadow has been circling you, watching you closely, and studying your movements like a predator waiting for the right moment. It has been trying to find where your armor is weak, looking for a way to slip through your fears or creep in through your loneliness. It waits until you are most tired to whisper lies in your ear, and it attacks your mind when you are feeling most vulnerable. This is the reason why some mornings you wake up feeling heavy before your feet even touch the floor, as if a weight was placed on you while you slept. This is why your dreams have been strange lately, confusing and disturbing, leaving you feeling unsettled when you wake. This is why there are moments when you feel like something is watching you, even when you are sitting in a room completely alone. Have you ever felt a sudden drop in your mood for no reason, or your heart racing without cause? If you have experienced these sudden shifts, I want you to type, "I am aware," in the comments. It is a sign that your spirit is sensing something your eyes cannot see. This is why you sometimes feel completely drained of energy, even after you have rested, a fatigue that sleep cannot fix. These are not just physical symptoms, they are signs of spiritual pressure, indications that something has been attempting to come near your life. But I need you to hear me clearly. Do not be afraid. Just as heaven intervened for that woman in the hospital room, heaven is intervening for you right now. You are not unprotected, and you are certainly not walking through this battle alone. You have been surrounded by angels since the very day you were born, guardians who have been assigned to your life. They have kept you alive through moments you didn't even realize were dangerous. There were attacks set against you that never reached you because they were blocked in the spirit realm. There were traps planned to catch you that never touched you because your path was diverted. There were people who tried to harm you but found themselves unable to succeed. There were situations that should have destroyed you, circumstances that should have ruined your future, but somehow you made it through. You might think it was luck or coincidence, but it wasn't. It was protection. It was divine covering. It was heaven stepping in on your behalf, time and time again. My child, do you realize how many times you should have fallen but didn't? Do you realize how many times your heart should have shattered permanently, yet it kept beating with hope? Think about the nights you should have drowned in your own pain, but somehow found the strength to face the ending. Think about the situations that should have wiped you out, but instead ended up making you stronger. This is not ordinary resilience. This is supernatural strength placed inside you by your Creator. You were never fighting by yourself, and you were never abandoned, not even for a single moment. You carry a light inside you that threatens the darkness, a brightness that makes the shadows tremble. You carry a purpose that scares the enemy, a destiny that he desperately wants to prevent. This is why your battles have been so heavy and why your life has never been easy. This is why people have betrayed you unexpectedly and why relationships have broken without warning. This is why opportunities have slipped away and heartbreaks have come out of nowhere. The enemy attacks what carries potential. He pressures what carries power. He targets what carries purpose. And my child, you carry all three of those things in abundance. This is why your spirit gets tired so easily and why your heart feels things so deeply. This is why your mind fights invisible wars that no one else sees. This is why your emotions fluctuate without explanation and why your body feels weak even when nothing is physically wrong. These are not random experiences, they are signs of your spiritual sensitivity. Your soul feels what others cannot sense. You pick up on vibrations and atmospheres that others walk right past. Your spirit reacts to unseen things because you were born with a calling that requires you to feel the spiritual world more intensely. And this is exactly why the darkness that once targeted that woman has now turned to observe you. It wants to silence your gift, to confuse your thoughts, and to drain your energy so you cannot function. It wants to make you feel unworthy and convince you that you are entirely alone in this world. It wants to break your spirit, so that you surrender your destiny before you ever reach it. But heaven refuses to let that happen to you. Just as the woman received divine intervention at the last moment, you are receiving heavenly interference right now. Barriers are being placed around your life to block the enemy's access. The spiritual atmosphere around you is being cleansed and purified. The whispers that used to fill your mind with doubt are being silenced. The heaviness that sat on your chest like a stone is being lifted off. The fear that knotted your stomach is being removed completely. The shadows that lingered near you are being pushed far away, unable to return. You are not stepping into darkness, you are stepping out of it. My child, hear me, your mind will not break, and your heart will not collapse. Your future will not be stolen, and your destiny will not be destroyed. You are shifting into a new chapter where the same darkness that once followed you will no longer have access to you. You are being covered more intensely now than ever before. You are being protected more strongly, surrounded by angels who are not just watching but fighting for you. And now that your spirit is steady and your heart is awake, I can finally reveal the connection. I can show you the hidden thread that ties you to that woman in ways you never sensed before. This truth is not light or simple. It requires courage and openness to receive. It requires that you listen not with your ears, but with your spirit. Because the reason her story entered your life today is not by accident. Her suffering, her encounter with darkness, and her whisper of gratitude are mirrors reflecting a deeper reality connected to you. The woman who delivered that child and whispered thank you with a shattered heart was not targeted randomly. Darkness does not waste time on random souls. It attacks strategically and intentionally. When it loses one vessel, it does not rest. It looks for another, hunting for a new opening. And that woman was chosen because something in her bloodline made her vulnerable to spiritual deception. Something in her lineage carried an opening, a door that had never been closed. And now pay close attention, because the same opening exists in your bloodline too. You and that woman belong to a spiritual pattern, a generational thread that darkness once used to travel. The attacks on your mind, the heaviness in your dreams, the sudden fear and anxiety, these are echoes of that same pattern. You have been feeling things you cannot explain and sensing things without knowing why. You have been carrying burdens that don't belong to you. These are signs that something ancient has been observing you, testing you to see if you are a suitable opening. But, my child, let me tell you clearly, you are not like her. You are spiritually stronger, louder, and brighter. You carry a higher calling, a deeper purpose, and a destiny that was specifically designed to break generational patterns instead of falling into them. This is exactly why darkness is drawn to you like a moth to a flame. It is a spiritual law that light attracts attack, purpose attracts pressure, and destiny attracts warfare. The presence that once tried to enter the world through that woman turned its gaze toward you the moment it lost its chance with her. But what it saw when it looked at you was not vulnerability or weakness. It saw resistance. It hit a spiritual barrier it could not understand and could not break down. It found a glow inside you that it could not dim, and a strength that it could not penetrate. This is why the attacks on your life have been emotional instead of physical, and mental instead of visible. Darkness realized it cannot step into your life directly, so it changed its strategy. It tries to weaken your spirit by attacking your mind and whispering lies into your thoughts. It tries to weigh your heart down with heaviness until you feel like surrendering your strength without even realizing it. It wants you to give up on your destiny before you ever have the chance to walk in it. Think about the times when you have felt exhausted for no logical reason, or when sadness hit you out of nowhere. Think about the moments when you felt overwhelmed, even though nothing was wrong, or when you felt numb and disconnected from the world. These feelings were not just random mood swings. They were the darkness pushing against your spirit, searching desperately for a crack. But here is the beautiful truth. Every time it pushed against you, heaven pushed back harder. Do you know why you are still standing today despite everything you have been through? Do you know why your heart is still beating with hope when it should have given up long ago? Do you know why your mind didn't collapse under the immense pressure you faced? It is because angels positioned themselves around you long before the enemy ever arrived at your door. It is because divine protection covered you long before the attack even began. The one who created you refuses to let darkness write the final chapter of your story. You were preserved, shielded, and guarded in ways you cannot even see. Every night you cried yourself to sleep feeling entirely alone. Heaven was there. Every moment you felt your soul breaking under the weight of life, heaven was holding you together. Every time you whispered, "I can't take this anymore," heaven heard you and stepped in to lift you up. You have survived storms that were sent to destroy you completely. You have survived heartbreaks that should have shattered you into pieces that could never be put back together. You have survived disappointments that should have drained your hope forever. But look at you now. You are still here, still breathing, still believing, and still rising. The darkness is not after your destruction, it is after your purpose. It sees what heaven has placed inside you, even if you don't see it yourself yet. It sees your future victories and the massive calling you carry. It sees the light you don't even recognize in the mirror and the breakthroughs that are rushing toward you. It sees the blessings that are being prepared for your life right now. And most importantly, it knows that once you step fully into your purpose, you will be dangerous to its kingdom. It knows that you are the one who will destroy every generational pattern that has destroyed others in your family. My child, you are not ordinary, and you never were. You are not simple, and you are certainly not average. Your spirit has been chosen for something mighty, something uncommon, and something powerful. You are the one in your bloodline who was born to break what others could not break. You are the one who will heal the wounds that have been carried for generations. You are the one who will finally end the battles that began long before you were even born. You are the one who will close the doors that darkness once used to enter your family. You are the one who will stand tall where others fell. That is why the enemy wanted you so badly, and that is exactly why heaven protects you so fiercely. Now, listen carefully, because I must reveal the truth about your connection to the woman. You are spiritually connected to her through a pattern, not through a relationship. Her story reached you today because heaven chose you to complete what she could not. She fought a silent war all alone, without guidance and without understanding. She was attacked without knowing what was happening, and she survived, but she was broken by the battle. You, however, are not alone in this fight. You are not vulnerable like she was, and you are not blind to the truth. You now know what she never understood, and you see what she never recognized. You now carry the strength she never had the chance to wield. You are the one chosen to end this cycle once and for all. Have you ever felt like you are the black sheep, or the one who is different in your family? That feeling often means you are the cycle breaker. Type "I am the breaker" in the comments if you feel this calling. And now, my child, let me tell you something you may have felt but never understood. The reason your life has been full of spiritual pressure and emotional heaviness is because you are transitioning. The reason for the strange dreams, the unexpected battles, and the sudden losses is because you are shifting seasons. The reason for the broken friendships, the weird shifts in people's behavior, and the moments of deep inner conflict is simple. It is because you are moving into the season where heaven activates your protection fully. The darkness knows it is losing access to you, and it is terrified. It knows its time in your life is ending, and it feels the walls closing in. So it tries to attack your mind one last time, hoping to make you fall. But every attack is failing, every lie is collapsing, and every plan is falling apart, because heaven has already made its decision concerning you. You will rise. The next part of your life is not filled with fear, it is filled with breakthrough. The next phase of your journey is not filled with darkness, it is filled with light. The next chapter of your story is not filled with struggle, it is filled with peace, clarity, and divine alignment. You are stepping into a season where everything that once aimed, you will leave your life forever. Every shadow that once followed you will disappear, and every heavy feeling in your spirit will lift. You are entering a moment where protection multiplies around you. Blessings will surround you on every side, and opportunities will chase you down. Joy is returning to your heart, and your purpose is becoming unshakably clear. But my child, before I take you into this new season, there is still one last truth to uncover, one final revelation that will complete the entire picture for you. It is the truth about why the darkness targeted your lineage in the first place, the truth about what that child was meant to become and the danger it posed, and most importantly, the truth about the spiritual inheritance that is waiting for you right now. My child, take a deep breath right now, because this is the moment where the final truth unfolds. This is the moment where everything you have heard until now connects into one massive revelation. You have walked through the story of that woman, and you have felt the weight of her pain. You understood why she whispered thank you in the middle of her devastation, realizing it was an act of gratitude for protection. But now it is time to uncover what was hidden underneath the surface this whole time. It is something deeper than darkness and older than fear. It didn't just connect you to her story, it positioned you in the center of a spiritual battle that began long before you were born. My child, the presence that fathered that child was not simply a wandering shadow. It was an ancient entity, older than empires and older than the stories human beings have written about demons. It was a presence that once had power and authority in realms unseen, but was cast out long ago. Ever since that moment, it has been searching, moving from lineage to lineage, looking for a due, or way to return. It cannot walk through the front gates of the earth openly. It needs a human host. It needs a child born from human flesh, but carrying enough spiritual openness for it to take root. That was why it chose the woman, and that was why it targeted her bloodline, and that was why the world shifted when her child was born lifeless. That child was meant to be a door, not a normal infant with a human purpose. It was meant to be a shell, a gateway through which something dark could be reborn into this world. And now listen carefully, because this is where the story reaches you directly. That woman's bloodline is connected to yours in a spiritual pattern, tied by spiritual cracks created generations ago. These unclosed doorways allowed darkness to observe and test your family line for years. For generations, these cracks went unnoticed and unclosed, allowing the pattern to repeat. Attacks, emotional battles, mental warfare, and brokenness were passed down from parent to child. The enemy used these cracks to search for a vessel, trying to enter through your lineage many times before. But each time, heaven intervened, and the enemy failed. When the enemy lost its chance through that woman, it turned its eyes toward the nearest soul marked by purpose. You. It observed you, circled you, and tested you. which is why you felt that pressure on your mind. It was trying to see if your spirit could be broken or your heart cracked open like the woman before you. But my child, you are not her. You are not vulnerable in the same way, and you are not spiritually blind. Your spirit is sharper and brighter, and your heart rejected every dark suggestion. Heaven surrounded you, and your purpose created a shield that darkness could not penetrate. The presence realized that you are not a doorway. You are a wall. You are a breaker, a destroyer of generat, ional patterns. Instead of gaining access through you, the enemy lost the footholds it once had in your lineage. You didn't just escape the attack, you weakened the enemy's influence across your entire bloodline. You survived what others surrendered to, and now your life is shifting. The spiritual weight on your shoulders is being lifted, and the confusion that followed you is breaking. Your dreams will calm, your mind will clear, and your heart will finally feel lighter. Opportunities will reopen, and your purpose will shine brighter than ever before. The same darkness that once searched for you will never touch you again, because the enemy has been defeated. The pattern is broken, the cycle is ended, and the spiritual door is sealed. My child, your future will not resemble your past, and the struggles you walked through will not repeat. You are entering a chapter where blessings will flow without interruption and favor will find you without effort. Heaven has declared that you are stepping out of warfare and stepping into peace. You are stepping out of fear and stepping into strength. The reason you survived every battle was not luck, it was preparation for this very moment. You were being strengthened for the blessings that are coming and shaped for the destiny waiting ahead. The storms built you, the heartbreaks expanded you, and the silence sharpened you. You are not stepping into this new season unprepared, you are fully equipped. You will begin to feel joy where there used to be heaviness and clarity where there used to be confusion. You are protected, you are covered, and you are chosen. You are rising, and absolutely nothing can stop what heaven has written for you. My child, if this message has confirmed what your spirit has been feeling, do not let this moment pass to lock in this new season of protection and ensure you never miss a word from heaven. Please click the subscribe button right now. Join our family of believers and let us walk into this future of victory together. Subscribe now and claim your destiny.